There is a massive problem with gangs using children for sexual exploitation in the city today.
London, a city of opportunity, a city of light. But behind the brightness lies a dark truth. There's a scandal going on here that the people in power don't like to talk about. Across the capital, grooming gangs are targeting young girls and boys in care. And it's happening more than you think.
It was happening to me and my friends every week. No one seemed to care.
Too often, the abusers stay hidden in the shadows, but I want to find out who they are.
These are complex organisations, people who wear suits, prominent figures, people who've got power, people who've got lots of money.
So who are these important people? Our story begins with a rumour. Those rumours became whispers. The whispers became warnings. But the real truth remains silent until now.
We've been shown some documents that contain the testimonies of grooming victims, and in this, they name their abusers, and there is one name that stands out.
Our investigation can reveal that a police officer at the Metropolitan Police was named by young girls as their abuser. And the girls said the officer abused them with other powerful men at the heart of the establishment, including an MP and a judge. But was it covered up?
Whoever made those decisions should be dealt with. They've taken the easy option. They've closed it down.
Do you think this is a cover-up?
Yes.
And we tracked down the now retired police officer to ask him about his past.
Hi. Is it okay if we chat about some allegations? And the allegations are that you sexually abused young girls when you were at the Met Police.
For years, Britain's grooming scandal has been defined by cases in Northern England, where groups of men abuse vulnerable girls, with police and local councils seemingly turning a blind eye. London has barely been mentioned. The capital is home to 9 million people. Among them are thousands of children who don't have a home. They live in care homes, temporary accommodations, and hostels. Some drift through the system with no one to protect them. I start my journey in East London. It's one of the most deprived areas in the capital. This area has hundreds of young people placed in social care.
I mean, it's pretty deprived, right?
I've come to meet Chris Wilde. He works with young people here.
The very first online platform for care experienced people where they can access free training, free webinars.
People say grooming's gone away and it only happens up north. What's grooming like in London now today?
Yeah, it's bad. It's as bad as it can get. We don't have the resources to accommodate all the children coming into the care system. It's all been privatised, so these private companies who run these children's homes, we don't know these guys who are running them. So there is a massive problem with gangs using children for sexual exploitation in the city today.
So criminal gangs are running some care homes here?
Yeah. Because that's how easy it's become. I would say every home has a problem with grooming. And that's the information I get working on the front line, people calling me, people telling me, we know we have a problem. We have a massive problem. And every children's home, not just in London, across the country, is a target.
So you think that this problem hasn't gone away at all? If anything,
No.
It's got worse?
It's got worse, yeah, because when I was in the care system many years ago, not that many children were in care. We've seen an influx of young people now coming into the care system, and this government doesn't have the resources to keep them safe. So that's how easy it's become. And children in care are the first targets for that reason.
And where are these kids ending up? Who's doing the abusing?
Yeah, it's interesting you said that, and it's important to get this message across, but when we start talking about predators, paedophiles, they are massive organisations, complex organisations. It's not just your street gangs. You know, as we say, there's a stigma attached to young boys, gangs on bikes with hoodies on the street. No, these are complex organisations, people who wear suits, let's say. People who've got power, people who've got lots of money. They are the ringleaders. Those are the ones running the gangs and destroying people's lives. And it could be connected to, like I said, to some prominent figures.
Grooming has been a taboo subject for the authorities in London. Survivors say the people in power are refusing to acknowledge the scale of abuse going on here. Even the Mayor of London seems unwilling to accept the term grooming gang.
Are you saying we haven't got the same sort of gangs that are in Rotherham, Bradford and lots of other places in the country?
Just for what's a misunderstanding, what does she mean by that?
You know full well what I mean by that. It's all over the television. You know exactly what I mean by that. These gangs of people that are grooming young girls for sex. Do we actually have those in London?
To enable me to give a full answer, can she be clear what she means by that? I'm not clear what she means.
How much clearer do you want me to be?
Earlier this year, the government launched a review into the grooming scandal, but 10 months on, it's still not underway. 9,000 cases are being investigated by the Met in the last 15 years.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform.
I've come to meet a young woman who grew up in care. Like many others in the care system, she was reported missing dozens of times.
I was about 14 at the time, and there was a group of guys who used to hang around with me and some of my friends in the care home. Everyone was scared of them, but they were actually really nice to me. Well, at the start anyway. One day, one of them asked what shoe size I was, and then the next day turned up with a new pair of trainers for me. No one had ever done that for me before, so, you know, I guess it did make me feel kind of special. Then he said he would take me out that night, but when he arrived, there was 3 other men with him in the car. I was confused, but I didn't really think anything at that stage. Then when I got in, they said they were taking me to a hotel for a party. But it was not a party, it was just a hotel room. They gave me vodka and drugs, and I soon realised that they wanted to have sex with me. It was all a bit of a haze. I remember when I got back to the care home, I told one of the adults what had happened to me, but she just shouted at me for being drunk and told me to shut up. And this didn't just happen to me. You know, it was happening to me and my friends every week. No one seemed to care.
So who is doing the abusing? Many of the people I've spoken to don't know the identities of the men doing the grooming. But then that changes. So an ex-Met detective has been in touch with me. He used to investigate grooming gangs, and he tells me that a Met police officer was involved in a grooming gang involving a judge and an MP. The officer was investigated by the force in 2012, he says, after a woman came forward, claiming he had abused her when she was a young girl. But the investigation was closed a year later due to lack of evidence. Now, for legal reasons, we're not naming this officer, but we've spoken to several people involved in this case who've raised serious concerns about the way the investigation was handled. I've been given the name of a local councillor who supported the victim who made the complaint against the officer. Councillor Ruth Bush sat in on police interviews, and she's agreed to speak to me. Take me back to 2013, when you were in the police interviews with this victim. What was she saying that happened to her?
Well, she was telling them things she told them outside of the interview and things that she told me, which were all about how she had been sexually abused as a child by a number of people, but particularly by somebody she would always just refer to as and how he would lift her on his lap and fondle her, and on numerous occasions. And it was that, a real depth of distress.
Ruth says that the police interview room had cuddly toys in.
She cuddled the toys and she needed them. And I just was under instructions, and I knew what I needed to do, which was basically sit there quietly while she spoke on the horror that had happened to her in her childhood. And they were all about 8, little tiny children, and she said they only picked the pretty ones. But it was undoubtedly connected to her experiences with in the police station. Certainly bad physical, sexual abuse was perpetrated on her and on the others.
Do you know if the police officers who were interviewing her, did they give any indication that they believed her or not?
They did.
They did?
When I came out of that room, the person who'd been viewing, because one was interviewing, the other one was viewing, she said, "We believe her. It's clear."
When did you find out that they weren't proceeding with the case? How did you find that out?
Both she and I were told that they believed her, but there was insufficient evidence to pursue a prosecution.
The officer was a custody sergeant in West London. He retired from the force in 2012 while under investigation. At the time, officers being investigated for criminal offences could only retire with permission from senior management. So who allowed him to retire? Was it a cover-up? LBC asked the Met who signed off the officer's retirement. The force said they were unable to identify who it was. I've been contacted by a former senior detective at the Met. He tells me the same officer was accused by a second woman just weeks after. We're protecting his identity.
This lady had been arrested recently. When she got into the custody area, she was shocked to see who the custody officer was. This lady had been in care as a child, and they used to run away from care, come into London. And she said that same officer used to pick her up with other girls sometimes, take her to an address in London where he and several other powerful men would sexually abuse them. And she didn't have any names of these men, but she thought one was a judge. And she just couldn't believe that he was still in the police. She said that he was bragging about retiring, going to Thailand, because obviously the connotation is that Thailand children, he's a paedophile, he's going there to abuse children. I've put the suspect's name on the suspect page, and because it's a civilian police officer, it's restricted. So I don't know whether I should say it. So I said, is it? And she said, oh my God, what makes you say that? Yes, it's him. And I just said, look, the man is a bully. He enjoys humiliating and belittling younger officers. And if anybody in that custody suite abuses children, it will be. I then phoned the on-call, it would be Detective Chief Inspector, told him the story, told him the fact that I recognised or thought I knew who it was just because of the way he is, and that this woman is definitely telling the truth and it needs to be looked at. And he said, yes, no problem, leave it with me, I'll look into it. Obviously, naively thought it was being looked at, and then within a month, I was told he'd retired. At that point, you could not retire if you had an outstanding complaint against you. You couldn't resign and you couldn't retire. So I just thought they'd brush under the carpet. Nothing's been done, because even if the poor woman had died the next day, I would have gone to his house and arrested him. I would have searched everything, seized all his electronics, brought him in, interviewed him, and he would have been released on bail. There's no way he, a month later, should have been just allowed to retire. And whoever made those decisions should be dealt with. They've taken the easy option. They've closed it down, but it needs to be prosecuted.
Do you think this is a cover-up?
Yes.
The Met say they have no record of this second investigation. But why not, when he was already being investigated for the same crime? So where is this officer? Is he in Thailand? Is he dead? After some weeks, we discovered he was living in the north of England. I wanted to put to him the testimonies I've gathered and ask him, was he part of a powerful grooming network?
Hi, my name's Andy Hughes. I'm a reporter for LBC. Is it okay if we chat about some allegations?
Well, you got any ID?
Yeah, I do, yeah. Here's a letter which details the allegations. The allegations relate to your time at the Met Police. And the allegations are that you sexually abused young girls when you were at the Met Police. Do you have any comments to that?
No comment.
Can you take this letter? All the details, all the details are detailed in this letter. It's got my contact details on, and you can respond to that. There's time to respond.
A week later, the former officer responded to our investigation. In a statement, he said, I categorically deny the claims. The Met said the force is reviewing the case. In a statement, a spokesperson said, we have recently been made aware of serious allegations of non-recent sexual abuse involving a former officer. Our Directorate of Professional Standards did receive a complaint about this individual in 2012. At that time, the matter was investigated as both a criminal and misconduct case, but it was closed in 2013 due to a lack of evidence and inconsistencies in the information provided. In light of these new allegations, We will now carefully review the case to establish whether any new information has come to light that was not available during the original investigation. This process will be thorough and impartial, and we remain committed to supporting anyone affected throughout. We encourage anyone with new information to come forward and speak to us.